Okay, guys, back to match number 2, which is played on Sanctuary.
That's
New
right.
map.
Yep, a new addition, and Team OmG are currently 1-0 up. And the reason we're using the Sanctuary stage, probably a lot of you be wondering, we initially decided on, I believe it was Ice Cave.
One of them's Ice Cave.
One of them was Ice Cave and one was on one other map.
I can't remember.
A lot of the feedback on the forum was suggesting basically that a lot of people weren't happy with that map, with those two particular maps. So what we decided is that the 2 extra maps that we were going to be used to the final, we're going to leave it up to...
Yeah, one pick each.
Yeah, one pick up to the finalists.
And both of them picked Sanctuary.
Both of them picked Sanctuary.
And the other was Plaza.
The other team decided on Plaza. So, as you can see, the action is started, very, very quickly, and both teams again pressing the action with very, very little campaign.
We like action. These
action.
Guys are all for it.
All guns blazing.
All guns blazing.
Pushing the pace from start to finish, which is excellent.
Yeah. Although it wasn't so smooth during the tournament, was it?
It wasn't.
We had one or two hiccups.
A couple of issues, especially the first one, which we're going to talk to you about, was probably one of the ones that required the most thinking.
Yes, definitely.
It was an issue between Team OX and Team DOMD in the first round matchup, which Team OX actually won, very comfortably. But the map they actually won very comfortably on was one of the maps won was on Temple stage.
Yeah.
And after the match was completed, Team DOMD sent us a message saying that unfortunately Team OX was glitching. After viewing the cinema files, we did confirm it was the case.
That was the case, unfortunately.
And but the glitch that they were using was one where basically it wasn't quite one of the standard glitches where you're shooting opponents through the wall, but what they were doing, they were finding these spots where they could look through the wall and see your opponents coming at you.
Yeah,
so to give them a heads up and advantage, basically.
Yeah,
it was exploiting sort of the glitches in the.
I mean,
the
some
walls,
felt it was harsh. I mean, they didn't like you said, they didn't kill anyone. But it's still glitching at the end of the day.
I mean, to be honest, the rule was set in stone. I mean, the rules were very, very clear in the sense that it stated that if anyone was using any glitch of any sort, it was automatic disqualification.
I mean, we did try to avoid disqualification. I mean, the idea is to get teams to play each other to see who's the best.
Yeah, and the thing is, the last thing you want to do is disqualify a team. It's not a nice thing to do.
It's not a nice thing to do. No.
And we tried to resolve it by giving DOMD the option to come out with another scenario.
Yeah.
And like you said, that was our mistake, wasn't it?
That was our mistake, unfortunately. Yeah. If you make the rules, then we do need to
stick by it
and carry it out.
Exactly.
Which in the end we did.
Exactly. In the end we did. Then we realized obviously that sentiments aside and feelings aside, we need to make a harsh decision here. And eventually, Team OX was disqualified, but by no means are they banned from any future tournaments.
No.
I'm sure they've learned from their mistakes now, and that definitely, certainly won't be happening again. I'm sure. So, they're more than welcome to join us in future tournaments. Second issue, I think, was
pretty straightforward.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. I think the parties weren't as happy with this one, but it was a straightforward decision. I mean, we have a clear rule, which basically states that if the host of a match disconnects, 9 times out of 10, what happens? The game ends.
The game ends. Yeah.
So the rule basically states that if that actually happens, you have to restart the match from the same score, where the game ended, and on top of that, the host who got disconnected can't participate in the second part.
Yes, there is a reason for that, guys.
Yeah.
We're not doing it just to punish anyone, but the reason is that so no one can exploit the fact that you restart. For example, if you're surrounded, your team is in a bad situation because of the other team's in the correct positions, and you're losing.
And they're dominating you, basically.
And they dominate. They got all the spots. Then what you do, you just disconnect.
Exactly, and then you restart from the original spawns. Sort of regaining that 50-50 scenario again. So the best way to avoid that is by basically saying, listen, if you disconnect, just as anyone else disconnects, in the map, you won't be able to partake in that particular match.
A deterrent.
Exactly. And unfortunately, what had happened is that when the match took place, the initial map on Temple. Team OmG were leading, I think, roughly about 31 to 16, roughly along those lines. And then Alex from Team Pure disconnected. What happened was they restarted the match with Alex in the map, it again, and they actually came back and won it. But obviously, after viewing the cinema file, we realized that there was an error here and there was a breach of rules. And we'd made the rules very, very clear in the Naughty Dog forum. We also verbally mentioned
Just before the match
that rule just
started as
before
well.
every matchup as well, to make it extremely clear. So we told them they had to repeat the second part of the match. Team Pure weren't very happy with that, but they eventually did repeat it, and Team OmG won the continuation. At that point, it was one each. It was Team Pure had actually won the first match on the Lost City. So Team OmG won the second one on Temple, so it was 1-1. And I think they let that decision get the better of them a little bit.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I mean, you
didn't
could
help
tell
with all the lag.
It didn't know, and I think they you could sense a bit of negativity amongst them, and you could sense that their morale wasn't quite right.
Yeah.
And by the time the third map was played on Village, they lost that matchup as well, and Team OmG managed to edge it across and push themselves into the final.
It's the rules, and it was a fair decision.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, and I'm sure Team Pure. I mean, to be honest, up until throughout the tournament, they've been very, very professional, very optimistic, very punctual, attending every match at the correct time, very eager to compete and participate. So we're definitely looking forward to them participating in future tournaments, because we thoroughly enjoyed watching.
Exactly.
For sure.
Please come back.
Yeah, we definitely look forward to their future participation.
Yeah.
For sure. And that actually brings up another interesting point in terms of strategies used in the tournament.
Some very, very interesting strategies that was carried out that I've never seen before. I never thought, but that's because I'm low level.
No, definitely. I mean, like one of the things that I loved watching about this tournament was the different strategies incorporated.
Exactly. Good old teamwork, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Team OX, for me, it was one of the first teams where we noticed some definite strategy planned before the match. It was in the Temple stage.
Yeah, the one that glitched as well.
The one that glitched. But what happened straight from the get-go, Team OX just went straight to the top area in Temple and just dominated the upper area. Yeah. They had control of the RPG, the upper sections. They had the higher ground than their opponents. And once they had an advantage in terms of a number of kills, they basically said to them, "Listen, you want to get us? You want to regain that advantage? You have to come to us.
Exactly.
We've got the higher ground."
Some people call it cheap, but I like to call it smart. That has been smart.
I thought it was fantastic. I loved it.
I loved it as well.
And it was absolutely excellent to watch, to see a team actually planning strategies beforehand and utilizing it in the map effectively.
Team Pure did something similar again on Temple, but what I noticed was instead of just dominating the upper level, they also split it in the middle. So they were one was on the desert and then one was on the hammer, forcing the opposition to spawn on the side. Keeping them there. I thought that was very interesting.
It was a fantastic tactic. I mean, the great thing about that one, it was that they kept them away from the power weapons. They had control of the power weapons,
all the power weapons,
and they forced them into the side sections where they could easily pick them off one at a time. So honestly, I mean, you rarely get to see these type of tactics on a lot of one-on-one shooting games unless they're very specific, like Rainbow Six, etc. So I mean, it's really fantastic to see it, and actually not just implementing it but making it effective.
Exactly.
So it was really excellent to watch. Yeah, so part of the strategy, you could see that Team Pure planned for Lefty not only to control the hammer section, but he was using Launchman as a booster as well to maximize the benefit. Obviously gained from the hammer.
Everyone has their own role.
Yeah, so everyone has their own role, and they can really control the map as best as possible and dominate the hotspots. So credit to them, fantastic job, and really effective use of the strategy.
Good teamwork.
As you can see, that's now ended the Sanctuary map. Team OmG 2-0 up. And follow us for our continuation on Village, where SoG need to try and change their strategy a little bit, don't they?
Yes, indeed. A bit more.
See you guys there.